Entertalk Radio, you're in to all things music.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey, everybody, it is Friday, and you are tuned to May the Best Brand Win on Entertalk Media, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I am Scott, your host, and a man who unfortunately had a bit of a shoe blowout on my morning walk to the refrigerator this morning. Still suffering the after effects of the shoe blowout. We don't know exactly what happened to the shoe.
That sounds harrowing.
It's harrowing. It's harrowing. And with me is a guy that will play through any footwear mishap that happens during the show, around. It doesn't matter. Paul B, how's it going?
I'll go barefoot to the fridge. I don't care. It's not gonna stop me.
I will play through it. I don't care. I don't even care. So
I will walk on hot coals.
What do you? So what do you think about that story? That's kind of interesting. So everybody knows what we're referring to. So a player from Duke injured his knee. Actually, his shoe just sort of disintegrated, and it caused him to mess up his knee and everything. And it's a Nike shoe, and so everybody's been kind of up in Nike's dish, and just social media has been all over them and that sort of thing for like one blown shoe. So it's you don't hear about a footwear mishap that often in college basketball, but this one was pretty high profile.
They're not whipping their child laborers hard enough. Is that the problem?
There was an Onion story that said Nike tracked down the 8-year-old shoemaker who apologized profusely for the shoe mishap. He said it'll never happen again. It said Nike fired the 8-year-old shoemaker.
Oh man. Beatings will continue until morale improves. Clearly.
Well, anyway, you guys are here at the show. We thought we'd start talking with a little bit of winning and losing before we even get going. We may revisit that one again if we have time. Because there's a few things more to say on that. But for now, you're tuned into the show, and who am I? So I am a PR marketing consultant. Run a firm called Robertson Communications. If you want to reach me, shoot an email to scott@robertsoncom, 2M's like communications.com, or the website, which is robertsoncom.com, or on any number of social media. On Instagram, I'm actually Scott Robertson APR, but on Twitter and Facebook, it's at robertsoncom or facebook.com/robertsoncom. Lots of ways to find me out there. So you are super smart, as we know, because you have tuned into episode 114 of the show, which we affectionately call Funnels and Magnets. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately. I've been thinking about this subject, quite a bit. If you're a marketer now in the current times that we live in, you have a decision to make before you even really do anything. You basically say, do I need to use a funnel or a magnet? And, it occurs to me that this decision process is not an easy one. There's certainly a case to be made on both sides. And certainly you can also opt to use a little of both too, right? But which one you choose or which one you kind of favor really kind of depends on what business that you think you're in, So we're going to talk a lot in this show today about this key point, which can often determine success or failure in any company's marketing program, not just for today, but certainly with a look towards what's coming in the future. And I'll give you kind of my thoughts on that. I've been thinking about it quite a lot lately. Of course, we're also going to talk about who's winning and losing. In addition to the shoe blowout, there was a whole bunch of other blowouts and good things that have happened in marketing this week. So lots of stuff to talk about. The Oscars are this Sunday, and it's an honor just to be nominated, and we think it's an honor when this show is nominated, especially since it's not a film or involved in the film industry in any way. But it's still exciting to win an Oscar like that, and we just want to thank the Academy. That's really all I can say on that.
And the Oscar for best opening theme humming goes to Scott Robertson.
There you go.
Do, 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 do.
if there was one, I should win that.
You got it. You got it for sure.
So let's talk funnels and magnets, folks. I was talking about this to somebody this week at a lunch, and they said, "Oh, well, that's really the difference between inbound and outbound marketing. Funnels and magnets." Yeah, kind of. Here's what I'll say. I did a whole show about funnels and why I don't like them. Why I don't like the analogy. Why I think it puts marketing. Here's what I've come to realize. A funnel is a device that allows you to take a really sloppy pour of something and make it into an accurate, smaller pour so that you can pour it into the hole. But the smart person's got to think, if you were just better at pouring stuff into the hole, then you wouldn't need a funnel, right? A funnel is lazy. It is sloppy and lazy. It's for sloppy, lazy people, right? If you really took your time and you really poured something, from one container into the next, you might not need a funnel to do it if you just did a better job of pouring, right? And I think that's a fantastic visual way to look at marketing today. Marketing is sloppy and lazy at the same time. Marketing says, it's a whole lot of work to communicate to a small audience, but we know we want a smaller population of a larger audience. So we're just going to spray and pray the world. We're going to spray and pray everybody and pray to God that our people find the message somehow and come out of the funnel at the other side. Regular listeners to the show, know that I'm not a fan of that approach. I don't like things that are sloppy or lazy. I don't think the profession should settle for it, and I don't settle for it. And I don't think it's a good thing. I think that this entire model that's adopted by, especially the paid side, the advertising side, demonstrates a fundamental lack of education and a fundamental lack of even knowing what marketing really is, right? And people say, well, that's kind of harsh. There's huge businesses built on being a funnel and those kind of things. A funnel is about your needs, okay, as the marketer. It's about your needs. I'm going to do a huge big pour and hope that some of it trickles down to the bottom of the funnel, right? That's literally what it is, right? I'm gonna move people down this funnel, and we're eliminating people along the, and we're getting down to the smallest amount of people that that we can possibly get. And that's sort of what people settle for in marketing. And then they measure things on spreadsheets and say, well, we got this many conversions, and we got a 50% conversion rate, and we've got all these kind of things. But they don't ever measure the people at the top of the funnel. This is my number one problem with the funnel thing, is that you don't measure the damage that you have done at the top of the funnel. You just pretend like, well, hell, that's just, I don't know, that's just collateral damage. We don't care about that. And if you're a real marketer, you have to care about that because you're in the relationship business and no relationship left behind, right? You certainly don't want to say, well, those people at the top of the funnel don't matter as much, so screw them. And if we have to beat them over the head with a baseball bat, to determine if they're going to buy or not or whatever, then that's on them. Who cares about them? You inflict your message on the world, and it is wrong. It is fundamentally freaking wrong, okay? So don't do that. There is a better way. And then we get to the inbound, what people call inbound marketing. I'm not a huge fan of the term inbound marketing. I think inbound and outbound marketing, it sounds really passive. For something that's as active and relationship-driven and powerful and creative and energetic as marketing, when you use terms like inbound and outbound marketing, I mean, that sounds like it sounds like a fuel line or something. It doesn't. There's nothing exciting about that, right? I hate those terms. I like the term attraction marketing, attraction-based marketing, because you're trying to attract people, as with a magnet. So let's say you had that same big population that you shoved into your funnel, right? And then, of course, we didn't care about all those other people and that kind of thing. And a smaller percentage shot out the bottom, and we got some conversions. But we didn't measure how many people we pissed off with the message at the beginning. We don't measure that, because that's not a KPI, right, in the digital marketer's funnel, which is fundamentally massively stupid and wrong, by the way. Magnet, you aim at the same population of people, and through the power of the magnet itself, it draws a percentage of the population or a percentage of those things to it, right? By just being a magnet, by just being a great magnet, it draws those people in, right? And you haven't disturbed, and this is really important. Digital marketers, get out your pencil. You have not disturbed the rest of the population. You've just attracted the part away that is going to go with you without disrupting the rest. The without disrupting the rest part is how we fix marketing's fundamental problem, which is there's too much garbage in the world from a bunch of lazy companies that have no creativity. Okay? So this is about reducing the amount of waste and garbage that's out there, that, by using a magnet. So what kinds of things attract people? Great content, about things that they're already into, their wants, their needs, their desires. This is why I preach, and on almost every show, I'm talking about messaging. Messaging is so important. And messaging has to be about who? It's about them, right? It's about them. It's not about us. We're not the hero of this story. They're the hero. Remember everything we've talked about in messaging? If you're going to be about something that's for someone else, then you have to start with their wants, needs, and desires. And I know that sounds, well, Scott, that sounds so obvious. Would you like me to show you the violations of that rule that I could find without even trying? I don't even have to try. They just come to, they just show up, It's lazy. It's absolutely lazy. And somewhere along the line, people got it in their heads that they could just take any old message and just hit it as many times as, well, if you hit somebody 7 times with your message, they're likely to remember it. Not if it sucks. Not if it's a bad message. Not if it's not about them. You could hit them 1,000,000 times and all you will do is just piss them off, right? The message counts. It's so important, and it's always blown off. It's like, yeah, well, whatever. Digital marketers are like, oh, the client gave me the message. I'm not responsible. I don't know. I'm just responsible for how many conversions we get. It's like, stop it. Learn to be a marketer. If you're going to have marketing in your title, learn what it is before you do it. Very important. What other things attract people? Useful resources to them. I saw a really cool one this week. Some guy created an Microsoft Excel shortcuts list of shortcuts that he found and that he sort of created himself and put out there. It got downloaded like thousands and thousands of times because everybody that's ever used Excel is like, man, I want a shortcut. How do I do that? How do I do that little formula thing again? And then people will print that stuff out and they'll have it by their desk or they'll have it in a folder of files that they use. Useful things, right? He's not selling anything. And you know how much traffic that person got off of there? He actually posted on LinkedIn. And I mean, oh, thanks so much. Hey, what do you do again? How can I help you? We want to help each other. When you help someone, they want to help you. Do it with the right intentions. Another thing that attracts people is having a solid point of view in the marketplace about issues, events, things like that. Especially if you're, selling a service that has any kind of consulting attached to it, you want to demonstrate that, yeah, I've got a point of view. When something happens, I'm going to be able to express, a point of view and guide you to a better conclusion than you would have gotten to yourself. That kind of thing. But I think that every company can have a point of view in the marketplace. You have a market segment that you care about. You have people. You have issues. You have their problems. You have those kind of things, and you need to have a point of view on those things because your audience does. And that's how you're going to kind of bond with them, right? It's hard to bond with a company, right? You got to find issues and things that you have in common, and kind of thing. So some tactics for attraction are blogs, resources, like the Excel spreadsheet thing, creating cool tools people can use, commentary, commentary, point of view kind of blogs, those kind of things, videos, white papers, technical articles, any sort of, thing that falls into that generic, content bucket that is about you and, helps them is great. Also, I would put media and influencer relations and publicity and things like that from PR in this bucket because we're attracted to news stories. We're attracted to interesting, top 10, gift guides for the musician in your life. Well, you want to see what those gifts are. And yeah, and you are attracted to the idea of the story. And, if you can get your client, your brand, whatever you're working on into stories like that, they automatically have great trust. They have credibility. And you're not responsible for the risk, which brings me to my next point, which is this is why magnets are better. There's less risk of destroying the relationship by violating privacy. You're attracting people out of a larger population. You haven't disturbed the rest of the population, so you're not a butthole. You know what I mean? You have less risk of destroying the relationship. There's less risks of fines, penalties, and all the bad legal stuff. And believe me, could do a whole show. I have another privacy attorney friend that I'm going to have on, and wait till you hear what the government is lining up and getting ready to do to these companies that are using consumer data improperly. Oh, get ready. The spanking machine is coming. Believe me. Attraction is also better because it's more empathetic. If you're really into relationship building, you better understand what the E word is. You better understand empathy. Understand how to relate to them, their needs. Starts with the message, goes all the way through. Empathy, very, very important. Attraction's also better because it's more targeted. You don't want everybody in a population anyway. This is another problem I have with the funnel. It's like, if you don't want them, if you don't want all that at the top of the funnel, then why are you spending time getting it? Why are you spending any amount of time, reaching out there and doing that? Just be targeted. If you're so freaking data driven and smart digital marketers, then why don't you target better? The reason you don't is because you're lazy. It's because you're lazy. It's a lot of work to target, And the last thing I want to say is it's flat out classier to be an attraction based brand. You're at the top. You're not a bottom feeder. You're not a spammer. You're not a over communicator. You're not a needy ass brand that does all those things. Be classy. Stay classy, San Diego. You're tuned to May the Best Brand Win on Entertalk Media, the undisputed leader on music biz talk. Come on back. We got a whole bunch of winning and losing for you.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Entertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on entertalkradio.com.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey, everybody, it is Friday, and you are so super duper smart because you are tuned to May the Best Brand Win right here on Entertalk Media, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I'm Scott. We're talking about funnels, magnets. We're talking about being classy, not being classy, those kind of things. Paul's with us. Paul, how's it going so far? What do you think?
Pretty good.
What do you think?
This is the best show about changing your own engine oil that I've ever tuned into. I'm really learning a lot.
Different kind of funnel. Different kind of funnel.
Really good points. And it's kind of the harder way to do it in some ways of trying to attract things towards you rather than blasting out. But the payoff in the long run and the attrition is less.
It is. You're trying to build relationships. You know, it's just I don't get some of the approaches that I see out there when people try and just the widespread use of this. You know, well, what does your sales funnel look like? What is your marketing funnel? I'm like, you shouldn't have one of those. That sucks. And people say, what do you mean by that? And I said, because I'm in the relationship business, and that sucks. That's you know, it's a terrible approach. Terrible. We'll talk more, by the way. We're going to talk more in the third segment. I'm going to give you some attraction tactics, and I'm going to give you some tips, attraction tips. Thank you. And we'll dig into that. But first, let's turn our attention to the cavalcade of companies that are winning and losing this week. Let's start with a winner from today. Virgin Galactic, their space plane, has reached space with the first passenger on board. So it's a tourism venture, Virgin Galactic. It sent its first space plane into space for the second time this morning, qualifying all three people on the flight for commercial astronaut wings. One of the riders was Virgin Galactic's first passenger, Beth Moses, the chief astronaut instructor at Virgin Galactic, who flew along with the vehicle's two pilots. So flying into space is real. Is what I want to say here. Is that this is about to become a tourism business where you can fly into outer space, and that's what Richard Branson wants, is the ability to be able to do that, and I think that's pretty exciting. I mean, sure, it's dangerous, no doubt about it. It's very for as opposed to a commercial flight which hangs at like 33,000 feet, it's significantly higher than that. There's significantly less oxygen. It's significantly colder. It's, all those kind of things. But, where there's a will, there's a way. And I think, you got to congratulate Richard Branson on the fact of being a pioneer, being out there and making this stuff real. Flying in space is going to be a real thing for us here on planet Earth, in the coming years. And I think it's all kinds of winning. It's all kinds of good stuff. Who's losing is New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft, who's now facing a prostitution charge in Florida. The owner of the New England Patriots has been charged in a human trafficking investigation. Basically, 100 men are involved in this, and apparently it involves sort of a Super Bowl happy ending down in Florida. Obviously it was a happy ending for the Patriots when they beat my Rams, but then Kraft extended it into another type of happy ending there in Florida. So he's losing, and whoever is running crisis communications for Kraft, the billionaire businessman, and also for the New England Patriots, because it's their owner, will certainly be in the thick of it this week as they, figure this out, and he gets charged in this whole prostitution, human trafficking thing. So he's losing, and I don't know, all of us can be happy we're not working on that project. Who else is losing is Facebook this week. A story came out that said, Facebook allows you to target exactly the audience you want, right? Which is kind of what we're talking about here, in terms of interruption versus attraction and that kind of thing. And they say, and Facebook is an interrupter, no question about it, but they also can attract people too. But Facebook is in trouble this week because they have been selling ads to organizations that are going after people that are sympathetic to the Nazis. I'll say that again. So Facebook, there's a small audience on Facebook that is made up of people interested in the perpetrators of the Holocaust or explicitly neo-Nazi music and that kind of thing. So there's an article that's on the LA Times this week. Facebook decided which users are interested in Nazis and let advertisers target them directly, which of course has got to be in some kind of violation of somebody's policies of decency and just what the hell's the matter with you kind of thing. But this is sort of the problem that I have with people that kind of just see data, is that they don't seem to have any humanity left in them to where they can make a determination as to kind of what is right and wrong. They just kind of like, well, we've got the data, so we'll sell it, that kind of thing. This is where you need a human being, right here. This is where you need a person that could make a decision. So the company sold ads based on user-generated phrases like Jew hater and Hitler did nothing wrong. And, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And then they provided this data to organizations who wanted to sell ads based on these targets. Stop it. Stop it, Facebook. I mean, seriously, get a soul. What the hell is the matter with you? Is what I'll just say. It's a terrible, terrible story. It shows it. If you want to know the answer to the question, why is the government gonna come and shut down all of Google's data privacy violations and all of Facebook's data privacy violations, it's because of stuff like this. It's because of stuff like this where they have no moral compass left. Maybe they never had one. I don't know. But the bottom line is that's just flat out textbook stupid, and wrong. I mean, God, just terrible. Terrible, terrible. And like I said, government's coming for you, You've stepped in it more times than we can count, and the penalty strokes are going to be severe. So they're coming. And anybody who makes their business, if you're a marketer and you make your business by selling Facebook ads, you're going to really want to pay attention to when the government comes and shuts that whole train down and shuts down the Google train right next to it. That's what you want to watch. That's why the attraction stuff I was talking about in the first segment, that's why you want to do that stuff, because this other crap is going away. May not be this year, definitely going to be in the next few years, and it's going to make this whole party that is created around the advertising agency, it's going to destroy this everything related to this party. And thank God, by the way, because this is the party that makes marketing skanky, in my opinion. So stop it. You know who's losing, probably, are the states that were marked in Wallet Hub's new survey of 2018's most sinful states. It's a good story. It's you can find it actually at wallethub.com. That is one of their lead stories. But they created a very interesting index about what makes states more sinful than others. It's a very I can't really get into the entire thing, but they have they measure anger and hatred and violence, violent crime and drugs and everything else. And I'm happy to say that California is still a strong number 3 on this list. Number 1 was Nevada because of all the gambling addiction. You can obviously see that. Number 2 was Florida, actually, which kind of makes sense because, man, there's just a lot of weird stuff that comes out of Florida, right? And so it's just there's a weird vibe to Florida that none of us really quite understand. But every weird, crazy homicide that comes in the world, before you even have to ask where it happened, you're like, that happened in Florida. And you're dead on right. Yeah, I mean, all the weird crap comes out of Florida. So you can see it. And we're number 3. California's going to have to work a little harder if they want to become the most sinful state in America. But anyway, it's a fascinating list, and particularly fascinating as to how detailed the matrix is that determines what is a sinful state. You know who's winning this week is any band that checks out the research from Concordia University about what makes a good groove. Apparently, new research came out and said a groove is better with rhythm and harmony, according to new research. So, harmony is really the emotive factor in music, and the desire to move to the music, well studied, with the strong emphasis on rhythm, strong emphasis on bass. I'm a bass player, love that. But what makes a groove, and if you'd like to see the scientific explanation of what makes a groove, I'm going to encourage you to go to concordia.ca and check out this story about a groove is better with rhythm and harmony. But it details in really scientific-y kind of stuff. It really details what gets people up and gets them moving to the music. As somebody who plays in a cover band myself, I find that fascinating. I find that it's we all kind of know, we all have seen music work. We've seen it work on ourselves, but it's one of these things where you don't completely scientifically know why, right? And you can't really describe it. But after you read this article, you actually will be able to describe it in more scientific terms. It's kind of it's fascinating. So, anywho, winning, harmony. Any bands that have harmony, you're winning. That's what I say. But let's never forget the importance of the bass player. Let's just take a minute. All right. Let's talk about Nike for a second. I talked about at the top of the show. So basically, Nike became a target of jokes when a U.S. college basketball player sprained his knee mid-game, Duke player, because one of his shoes split open during the play. Zion Williamson limped off the court after the mishap when they were playing North Carolina. And Twitter lit up with all kinds of jibes and jeers aimed at Nike and lots of things. Former President Barack Obama was courtside there, and he basically said his shoe broke and all this kind of thing. So some folks have asked me on social media. They said, how would you, if you're Nike, all the PR people, how would you respond? Just a quick lesson in crisis communication. You don't respond until you have what? The facts, right? So one of the biggest mistakes that you could make is jumping into and start apologizing and really start saying anything until you know what happened. And I'm sure in Nike, you want to know what happened. I mean, is this just a one-off? Did it happen with one shoe? Did it happen with a line that was manufactured at this time? I mean, there's a million manufacturing questions that you can ask. But before you answer those questions, you got to have the answer to those questions before you can come to the press with anything meaningful. And I mean, Nike makes hundreds of thousands of shoes. They make and ship hundreds of thousands of shoes. This is one shoe that blew out. It's hardly a brand and ending event unless it was managed incorrectly. How I would handle it, people have asked me. I said, and it's not really sizzling or sexy or anything, but I would just do a ton of research. I would wait and not say anything about it and say, we're looking into this. This is really strange. We're sorry that it's a shame that he kind of what they said. We wish him a speedy recovery. We're sorry that his knee got messed up because of an injury on the court. Never want to see that. But as to why the shoe destructed, we don't know. And until you know, you should shut up. You should not say anything. Where people get into trouble is they start to speculate and they start to say, well, and they start to they're so fast to apologize and they're so fast to do all this BS when you don't have any facts. First rule of crisis communication is have the facts or shut it until you do. Okay? Really, really important. You see that rule broken all the time because people want to comment. If I'm sitting on the podium and press are asking me, Scott, what happened? What happened? I'm going to say this really exciting answer that goes like this. We're looking into it. We're looking into it. We don't know. Yeah. Looked like the shoe broke to us too. Yep. Well, and then you just go, we'll have more for you later. When we have something, we'll be back. That's how you handle it. That's how you diffuse it right there. The facts, diffuse it with the facts. There's no great strategy where you're like, waving a magic wand and, mischief managed kind of thing. It's like, no, you just tell the truth. Not friggin' rocket science either. So that's what I say. And last but not least, an Inc. story came out this week that listed the 10 most uplifting songs in the world according to science. According to science. We just talked about some science, didn't we? So, do you want to know what they are? You can check the story out at Inc., by the way, which is called, ironically enough, the 10 most uplifting songs in the world according to science. No Beatles in there, by the way. People were kind of upset about that. But number one song, most uplifting, let's do the top 5. Let's do all 10. We got time. Number 10, Walking on Sunshine by Katrina and the Waves. It's true. That's a pretty upbeat song. I could definitely see it. Number 9, I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor. That's true. Yeah. It's a great bass line. Fantastic. Funky. Love it. Number 8, Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi. My band plays this song, but we play it because we have a little 80s set, and we just kind of needed some glam rock to kind of go in there. But apparently, very uplifting song as well. Probably because the chorus is such a sing-along, and it builds to such a powerful chorus, would be my scientific guess. Number 7, Girls Just Want to Have Fun by Cyndi Lauper. That's true. Upbeat. Cool, cool parts. I've played it. Doesn't have a great bass line, to be honest, but there you go. Number 6, I'm a Believer by the Monkees. Yeah, definitely. And with Peter Tork passing away, of course, all cover bands are looking at their Monkees repertoire and going, do we know any of that? Is there any of that we can play? Also, Smash Mouth does a great version of I'm a Believer. I believe it was in the Shrek movie. It's pretty cool. Number 5, Eye of the Tiger by Survivor. Yeah, definitely. I mean, just drives, right? It's a driver, so absolutely. Number 4, this one had some. This was kind of contentious. Uptown Girl by Billy Joel. Uptown Girl by Billy Joel. Yeah, as an upbeat, uplifting song, okay. Probably not even Billy Joel's most uplifting song, to be honest, but Number 3, Good Vibrations by the Beach Boys. According to science, that's going to get you uplifted. Number 2, Dancing Queen by ABBA. Yeah, I guess unfortunately, yeah, I know how to play that song. It's sure, it's uplifting, I guess. And number 1 is Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. Absolutely, that's a great song, very uplifting. They should use fewer commercials, I think. A couple commercials use it. And that's who's winning and losing this week. Right now, you're tuned to May the Best Brand Win on Entertalk Media, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. Come on back. I am going to give you some tips on how to attract people and throw away that funnel for good. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Entertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on EntertalkRadio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey, everybody. It is still Friday, and you are still tuned to May the Best Brand Win on Entertalk Media, the undisputed leader in everything. And I am Scott, your host, and hanging out here with Paul, talking about winning and losing. Quite a cavalcade of idiots this week. And
a confederacy of dunces.
Yeah, I'm gonna change the that title of that segment to just a cavalcade of morons, or like Rocket says in Avengers: Infinity War. He's like, we got 2 ships and a large assortment of morons. I'm gonna call segment 2 from now on a large assortment of morons.
That's a good one. I like that. that's even catchier than winning and losing.
It's even catchier. So, what do you think about? What do you think about the song list, and in particular, uplifting songs? What do you think?
It's not that rough. I don't know if I put Dancing Queen as number 2 necessarily, but I gotta respect ABBA, despite it's ABBA, but they're just listening to them, like those compositions, the productions are really, really good, and I got extra deep respect for ABBA. I think I mentioned it a week ago or 2 weeks ago on the show where I actually got to play with their drummer that sat in with my band, and he was a beast. So, nice. So yeah, that was a deep groove. So I was like, yeah, you got to give it up for ABBA.
Did you play Dancing Queen?
No. We didn't do an ABBA song. He just set in on. It was actually "Shake Your Body Down" by the Jackson 5 or Michael Jackson. I forget which one.
Oh, there you go.
It was rocking, but yeah,
I want to see. I want to see you on guitar, that guy on drums, and Florentino singing Dancing Queen.
I would too.
I want to see that. I want to put that together. Oh, my goodness. Well, that's who's winning and losing. Good God. What can you say? Let's move on. We are in segment 3, and I promised you folks I would give you some tips. So let's do that. All show we've been talking about funnels and magnets. And I have tried to convince you very much so that magnets beat funnels every single time. I don't like using funnels. I don't like being in marketing conversations where people are mentioning funnels. I don't like the analogy. I don't like the fundamental I don't like it. I don't like the way it's used. I think it's wrong. I don't think it's the right direction for the marketing profession to be going. A lot of these digital marketing companies that don't know the difference, their gravy train ride's coming to an end shortly. Very shortly, courtesy of the United States government, California state government, all state governments. By the way, there's every country in the world is creating its own version of GDPR. I mean, they're getting ready to lock down customer data tighter than it is going to be locked down, absolutely locked down. So, if you use it to target people inappropriately, they're going to be just lining up to fine you. And and like I said, I'm gonna have a friend of mine that's a privacy attorney come back on and just drop some truth on all the digital marketers out there that think that business is going to be around. It's not going to be. So just so you know, it's coming to a close, and that's why you want to know about these tips, because you want to, if we agree that magnets are better, then you ask yourself, well, give me some tips on how I can, my company can be more of a magnet and less of a friggin' funnel. Number 1, decide, make a conscious decision that says we are either an attraction-based brand or we're an interruption-based brand, right? And then, but make that decision and make it clear to your team and say, look, if we want to be an attraction-based brand, then that decision needs to flow through all of our thinking, through everything that we do. That needs to be like mission statement level stuff in marketing. It says we care about people's, right to be left alone. We want to be great for the people that we can be great for, but for everybody else that is not our target, we kind of want to leave those people alone, right? We want to leave the rest of the pool of metal pellets kind of, undisturbed and that kind of thing. So I think it starts with a decision. It starts with a decision to say, we are going to be attraction-based. We're going to be, what some people call inbound marketing. I really don't like inbound versus outbound, as I said in the first segment. It sounds too passive to me, and it's like there's no emotion in those words, and for something that it's like, what do? We do inbound marketing. Great. Well, wake me when you're done. That doesn't sound exciting in any way to me. And thus, if you're in front of the board of directors and go, well, I want to update you on our inbound marketing, they're asleep. By the time you finish that sentence, they are asleep. They have no idea what you're talking about and could care less. Use something else that has some power that explains what you're actually trying to do. So decide. Number 2, and I'm going to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Message correctly. Always start with the message. I've been working with a nonprofit organization out of Florida. They had they're building homes. They're building homes in Florida for migrant farm workers and giving them additional housing options because there's a housing shortage after Hurricane Irma a year and a half ago, right? And they started with the message that was like, well, first of all, I couldn't read the mission statement of the organization without taking a breath between it. If you fail the oxygen test, if you have so many adjectives, there were 10 different adjectives that described housing in it. If you can't get through a sentence without breathing, it's too damn long. It's too long. You gotta be shorter. You gotta be tighter. And the message has got to be about, in this case, they're trying to raise donations, right? So you want that donor to be the hero of the story. You can't make it about, we're this 501c3 and aren't we great and we're trying to do all this work. It's like, who cares about you? If I'm a donor, what do I care about? I care about me, right? I'm the most important person to me. You're not important. You're not as important to me as I am to me, right? And that's not a character assassination again. That's just understanding people, and that's just cutting through it and really understanding people. And I understand in mixed company, that's a hard thing for people to admit. Well, I know people that are completely selfless. You don't. You don't know those people. You know people who have created the illusion for you that they are selfless. However, if you could read their minds, I guarantee you with 100% certainty, and this has been true since there have been people walking around on this planet, that they are really, really into themselves and what's going on in their world. And then it extends out to their kids, their pets, their stuff, their house, their movies, their car, their kind of stuff. And all of your crap is a very distant second. Get it, understand it, know it, and make sure that your message is talking about the right stuff. Because the minute you start talking about, we are this organization that has this, I'm gone, I'm off, I'm watching puppies. I'm on another site somewhere watching something else because I don't care. I care about the stuff that affects me most directly, okay? You will be such a better marketer if you just get over that and just start working on that and just make sure that that is my 30 years worth of marketing journey, rolled into one sentence. Know how to target people and what they want. That's the most important thing. So message correctly. All right. So tip number one was to decide we're going to be an attraction-based brand. Number 2, we're going to have a message that is all about them. How great are they? How handsome are they? How awesome are they? How great are isn't their dog an awesome dog? Isn't their, whatever. That's what they care about. Just understand that. Number 3, this is the fun part, right? Create things that are amazing. You don't have to do funnels and bludgeon people with your marketing message if your stuff is so damn good that they will walk through fire to get it. Okay? The guy that created the Excel shortcut sheet, people want that. People want an Excel shortcut spreadsheet because Excel sucks and Excel is difficult to use. And if you know shortcuts of how to use it and use it less, then you're in a great position, right? You're getting something for yourself. And then by extension, people want to help that person out because they created such a cool tool, yada, yada, yada. That's what I'm talking about. So this is where, marketing should be about creating great things for your audience, amazing things for your audience, for them, entertaining things for them. If you're doing content marketing, make it great content. Don't just take, some story and just kind of have a vanilla blah blah blah, approach to it. Make it good. Make it well written. Make it interesting for them. Make it. I run a blog for a lawyer, and we did a story about emojis coming into courtrooms and how the court system is ill-equipped to interpret the language potential of an emoji. And you think about it, you have to, when you write a sentence to someone, you can kind of interpret what the intent was. But if I send a string of multiple emojis, that can have different emotional charges to it. But you have to be able to interpret that, right? And the court system has no idea how to interpret emojis. And they sure as hell don't know how to interpret them in a way that is standardized across, that they can, be rational about. That kind of thing. That's an interesting blog post, right? Do you know what the other legal blogs are writing about? Statutes. They're writing about, this statute, this is kind of, wake me and kill me, please. If you're going to create something, if you're a marketer and your job is to create something, be creative. Be creative. Use it. This is the fun part. This is where we get to use the skill and show what we really can do. And in our wake, like I said, there's a million digital marketers that are creating little Facebook ads and social ads that suck, that are terrible. And they're like, I'm in marketing. I do marketing. It's like you're in marketing the same way the people that do the coupon books are in marketing. But the real people in marketing are, creating amazing things for their brands, for their companies. Be one of those people, right? That's where we earn our keep, is when we show that we can use this this creativity that we have to do something powerful, and that's the kind of stuff I like to highlight on Winning and Losing all the time, because, it's more and more rare these days for things to be creative and great. So it's easy to just, have a meaning about KPIs and funnels and all of that bull crap and forget how to do actual marketing. Number 4, not the sexiest tip in the world, but make sure you're measuring things. I always talk about marketing as part art and part science. And people say, oh, well, it is. It is. If you're going to be a great marketer, you have to be great, creative, artistic, awesome, and all that kind of things. But you also have to be a bit of a data scientist. You have to be into first of all, you have to be into psychology and you have to be into that. But then on the measurement side of things, you have to know how to read and interpret data. If we're putting a message out there and it's being engaged with, and people are engaging at this level, then what do we know about that message and what can we use to kind of replicate that success? Measurement is not the sexiest part of marketing by any stretch of the imagination, but it's extremely necessary because you are going to have to, as a scientist, you're going to have to know what stuff in the laboratory worked and what stuff really didn't. And that's just 101 kind of stuff, right? But it gets left by the wayside. People are like, I ask new clients and I say, let me see your measurement reports for what you've done in the last part of marketing. Oh, we've got, website traffic and these kind of things. And I'm like, but where are the reports that show, what marketing did? Where's that? Oh, we didn't have time to do that because we were off, creating our next, wonderful interruption-based advertising campaign. Slow down. Stop it. Marketing has steps. It has steps, right? And all you digital marketers out there, learn the steps. Get a marketing textbook. It's important. Marketing is not something that is just a tactic and then you call it marketing. There's a whole process there that has to be followed, right? Otherwise, it's not marketing. It's just a tactic of marketing. And that can be really dangerous if you don't have it attached to the rest of it too. So make sure you're measuring. Very important. And number 5, revise and repeat. This is where you're doing your measurement, your evaluation, and then you're like, well, what can we revise? What can we change? We understand that our audience really liked this viral video that we had going on that showed this person's guitar rig or this person's behind the scenes kind of tour footage, whatever. How can we replicate that? Is there more stuff that we could do like that? Because our audience seemed to really respond to that, And again, that's how you make your decisions on what you're going to do and what you're going to keep doing and what you're going to stop doing and that kind of thing. But make sure that you leave that step in there. That's a really important tip. If you're going to do attraction-based stuff, then you have to be ready to answer the fundamental question, did we attract people? Did we actually, attract people, and did we get them, and have we kind of deepened the relationship with those people? And, and have we not, messed everything up in the interim by sending out a bunch of untargeted stuff to people who don't want it, that kind of thing. Look at things like new subscriber rates. Look at things like, new engagement. Look at things like, reviews that are posted on Amazon, Amazon and other sites, about products, about people saying great things about the product. Those are all great opportunities to engage. And those are great things that marketing needs to be aware of, right? Because those are the ripples where you're having an effect out there. It's just, so those are my tips. Make sure you, again, 1, you make the decision to be an attraction-based brand. 2, message correctly. Don't blow through that step. Important. Number 3, create. Have a lot of fun creating great things. And if it's not great, then don't send it out. There's no rule says you have to send something out this month. Make it great, then send it out. Measure, and then revise and repeat. So what have we learned? We learned that people don't like to be interrupted by advertising, phone calls, junk mail, spam. And when you send those things out, you run a very big risk of them not liking and, let's just say, hating your brand. There is a better way. There is a way that they can attract your customers to you that has very little risk. It has a huge upside for building strong relationships. I mean, after all, we are in the relationship business, right? Right? Well, that's it for me, folks. Until next week, this has been Scott Robertson for May the Best Brand Win on Entertalk Media. Come back next week for a fresh show. We'll talk to you later. Bye. You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Entertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?